going on, everybody? CFC DP here with yet another video. We have an excellent one for you today. A lot to talk about after Chelsea win against Servette 2-0 in the Europa Conference League qualifier. So this is the first of two legs. Chelsea did get the job done, winning 2-0, but the performance, I think, is the bigger problem here in the bigger scope. Now, mind you, it is a rotated squad after the Man City defeat last week and with Wolves on the horizon. So I would expect there to be quite a bit of rotation in some of these matches, just because that Thursday to Sunday timeline is very hard for two complete 90 minutes. So it was a very rotated squad at this point. But just generally, there were some definite problems that I saw in terms of the center backs. And I think I put out a tweet just before the season started, I think a day or two before Manchester City, and I said, this team will only go as far as their center backs and goalkeeper will take them. No problem from Jorgensen today. Wasn't really anything coming his way, but the center backs, there was big issues. So we had Tosin, we had Badiashile and Disasi out there today, and it just looked like really three guys that have never played with each other, which they haven't, and a couple of guys, in Tosin and Disasi who really did not play or barely played in the preseason. So there's some issues that need to be worked out in terms of just decision making. There's nothing tactically really to break down from it, right? There's no glaring weakness of a guy being out too far or there's not enough support for him. However, just these mental mistakes are going to continue to be a problem, right? So Maresca can do whatever he wants in terms of coaching them and tactics-wise, but you're not going to see that necessarily improve unless the individual mistakes stop. So moving on, a couple of debuts today from Tosin and then Pedro Neto, who I thought looked pretty lively in the first half. Didn't get a goal or an assist, but I thought looked pretty good in terms of creation. It was a very bland first half overall. I think Chelsea just lacked kind of that cutting edge that you would expect a team that is worth a heck of a lot more than their opposition to do. So just some general issues in terms of just pace of play, pushing the ball, taking some chances. There really wasn't that, right? But we shouldn't expect that necessarily, because when you look at Enzo Maresca's style, and we saw from Leicester City fans that same sort of disapproval, so to speak, from that performance. And it was not something that we necessarily thought was going to be like this, especially against such a poor opposition. But it was very slow, not very dynamic. And mind you, a lot of substitutes, Mark Guiu, Mudryk, a couple of guys that aren't going to be starting week in and week out in Premier League competition. Nevertheless, it just was not quick enough. It was not fast enough. There was a lot to be desired after that performance. A couple of individuals I want to touch on. I thought Mark Guiu looked okay. Guiu, probably should have scored that. It was a wide open chance. Caught it wrong on his foot. I won't blame him. Did some nice stuff in hold-up play. It seems that Maresca is going to be implementing some more hold-up play tactics, trying to get those attacking eights to puncture in on each side of them to get the ball moving forward, and then eventually getting to a winger and then a diving striker into the net. So that's one specific tactic we're going to look for in the rest of these matches that are going to be going on in the first month of the season. We're going to start to dissect some of those tactics, and I do a full tactical analysis on Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea. You can go ahead and find that link in the description. There's an amazing amount of content in there. They are the presenting sponsor of our channel for this entire season. Great partnership I have with them over there. So go ahead and get into the link, and you can go ahead and subscribe. Generally speaking, though, I thought some of the substitutes did make a difference. I thought Noni Madueke, obviously, with the goal, looked fantastic. I think he is starting to trust his right foot more. A lot of people are suggesting that maybe he gets sold this summer. I don't know how you can do that, because I don't think you have another trustworthy right winger at this point. If you were to bring somebody in, then fine, maybe you can make that change. But I think Noni has made enough strides so far where you're kind of like, okay, I think it's worth seeing how this plays out for this year, and then see how it turns out. But he does provide some dynamism in the, cutting in his left foot. He has dynamic moves cutting to the byline now. So I thought Noni was pretty good. Then a couple other subs. Palmer came on, really didn't do anything. He was playing sort of like a false nine because Jackson didn't go on, Guiu came out, and Cuckoo came out. So Palmer was playing the false nine, dropping in deep. Had a couple of opportunities, but nothing absolutely crazy there. Kieran Dewsbury Hall had an okay performance. I thought he did some nice things, some things that I wish that he could do a little bit better, a little bit new, and this is going to take time, guys. This is a big group of players that have never played with each other before, and it's the second game, and it's pretty much the first game for the majority of these guys that went out there. So there's going to be some bumps. They got the result, so I'm happy about that. But I think it's hard to pass judgment on something that has only had, one game to this point. So we'll be monitoring it, though. There's some tactics that we will be talking about in the blog that I put up, the post-match analysis on Cy Phillips. You can check that out there. But finally, Mykhailo Mudryk, I think it's time. I think, obviously, we all know the skill set's there, the talent's there, but it's what's between the ears. Some of the decision-making has just not been cutting edge for a player of his price tag, and I wish that I could say that I could give him more time. You're not going to be able to sell him, but I would seriously consider loaning him so he can kind of figure that stuff out, because right now it's just not it. It's just not it, and I hate to say that because I've backed him because of that talent, but generally speaking, I think he just needs to pick it up just a little bit. So, as always, we will be coming to you with more videos. This weekend I'm on vacation. This is not my usual setup, as you can see. I will not be doing a watch along for the Wolves match, but I will be doing one for the Servette match on Thursday next week, so super excited about that. We'll have more content coming out in the next couple of days. We'll have a Wolves post-match reaction, and then we'll be back home, back on our usual schedule. So I want to thank you guys for being here. Please go ahead, like, subscribe, comment. Everything is very appreciated. So as always, we'll see you next time.